I originally had the idea for what became the UFC 25 years ago. And at that time, I was calling it the world's best fighter. And I saw it as a tournament, and I saw it as a pay-per-view event. I didn't see that it needed to be a video that would go to Blockbuster. And that's what a lot of people at the time were thinking about. Gee, if we could just do a video, and we'll run down to Blockbuster, and it'll be back in the bins, along with Faces of Death. I didn't see it that way. I saw it as an event that would be on pay-per-view like boxing. Now, eventually, that working title became War of the Worlds, suggested to me by a friend's wife. And we were excited about that name in a way because, you know, it was the world of karate versus the world of judo versus the world of sumo, boxing, etc. And on that basis, there was some value to that name. On the other hand, it was the title of an H.G. Wells book, which had become a Paramount Pictures film in 1953, and which certainly had intellectual property rights issues attached to it. So those two working titles we kept using them as the frame of reference for what we were going to call this. We knew it wasn't the final name, quite frankly. So when we finally went into partnership with Semaphore Entertainment Group, an established producer of pay-per-view events, we all knew that the name was only a working title. As the summer went on and we started to get close to the fall where we planned to do this event, we were talking about October or November. In October, we knew there was a Mike Tyson fight coming up, so we were trying to schedule the event to avoid that conflict. So we got closer, and the advertising responsibility for creating a lot of the marketing materials fell on Semaphore as our TV partner. My job and WOW's job was to create the event, recruit the fighters, set the purse, et cetera, et cetera. They had a salesman on board whose job it was to market the pay-per-view events to all the cable companies. His name was Michael Abramson. And Michael was an old radio and TV guy. I myself in advertising knew guys like Michael all my life. Good salesman who knew how to close a deal and sell advertising. It was Mike who came up with the name, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And I was a little not sure at first because I said, first of all, it's a three-word name. And sometimes a three-word name takes a while for it to click with an audience. And it's too soon to make an acronym of it, although I was the first one in a brochure that I had sent out to Gracie students, inviting them for a travel package to come to Denver and witness the event. I was the first one to shorten it down to UFC. I did so because I was running out of space at the bottom of the flyer and finally decided to make the three-letter acronym. But Michael had this name and he said, Art, there's nothing beyond ultimate. He said, think about it. What word could you think of that's beyond ultimate? Ultimate Fighting Championship. I was worried that people would make it Ultimate Fighting Challenge, and actually inadvertently Bill Wallace, our first play-by-play announcer, got on television, a pay-per-view, and the first thing out of his mouth is he'd like to welcome you to the Ultimate Fighting Challenge. So that was my problem with it. I felt in a way that I should have been coming up with the name given my background in advertising. I had helped create names for a number of clients and their products, but I always knew from my ad background that advertising, like television and film, is a collaborative art. And sometimes your best idea can come from an account executive, from the secretary who answers, or receptionist who answers the phone. And in this case, a good salesman came up with the name, and I liked Ultimate. I liked fighting, and I liked the word championship. I just wasn't sure in what order they went. In time, the three most valuable letters, which Lorenzo Fertitta told me last year at the 20th anniversary show that he really bought, he said what he really paid money for was those three letters, UFC. He said that's where the equity was.